Hello and welcome to Your Trades. This is Ankita Saxena and with me is Shreyansi. Hi, good afternoon to everyone. What a day of trades today. Another day of another record high, Shreyansi, on the Nifty and Nifty Bank as well. But a good day of trades coming in on a Monday. Another record high for Nifty as it scaled up 25,945. Nifty Bank also hit record high today. In fact, especially the PSU banking pack that was leading from the front. In fact, Maharashtra Bank was trading with gains of over 7.5% today. The Nifty Bank traded with gains of 300 plus points today. Also, interesting thing to note today was the spike in the India VIX. India VIX also spiked up 10% today, which shows volatility in the market. But nonetheless, all the sectoral indices ended the day in the green, barring a Nifty IT that was reeling under a bit of a pressure with cuts of 0.5%. The realty pack was, of course, in focus today on the back of the news flow that came in on Friday. The Maharashtra government is likely to announce a stamp duty discount on real estate, and that could give a big boost to revenues for all the real estate players, especially the ones facing Maharashtra, especially Godrej Properties that saw was soaring away in trade with gains of over 7%. DLF, Shobha, Lodha, all trading with gains of 2.5 to 3% on the back of the news flow. Also, in focus was Vodafone Idea that was in focus after days of decline that we saw coming in on Vodafone. A bit of a breather coming in, a bit of a recovery on that stock coming in on the back of the $3.6 billion deal that it had with Ericsson, Samsung and Nokia, and that helped the stock recover. Also, it soared up almost 8% in the morning trade before it gave up those gains and ended, with gains of 3+% there. Also, a bit of con-call highlights also came in for Vodafone Idea. In fact, they're looking for another tariff hike in the next 15 months is what the management said. Also, they're in advanced stages of discussion with the lenders for debt raising to close to 3,500 crores. They expect the bank fund to raise close in the next 7 to 8 months. So that's the word coming in on Vodafone Idea. These were the stocks who were on the gaining side. Let's look at the stocks that were on the losing side. Then we saw iShares, DV's Labs, ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, Asian Paints. That were the top Nifty losers. So that's where largely the markets ended the day, Shreyansi.
Well, yes, absolutely. When you take a look at even the auto pack, you do have some of those auto counters also that were buzzing away in trade. The likes of M&M, Bajaj Auto, Hero Moto, those are the ones that I was also looking at. And when you take a look at other stocks that were buzzing in trade, on the flip side, you did have Fusion Finance. And that was the one counter that was in focus because the management did an internal review of the credit quality of the loan portfolio. And now, based on the trends, the company says that it may be required to make estimated credit loss or ECL provisioning between 500 to 550 crores in the second quarter. And when you take a look at what Investec also had to say, the counter of course was on brokerage radar, and Investec came out with a note where they downgraded the counter to sell. And in terms of the target price also, they've cut the target price to 300 rupees. So that stock was stuck in lower circuit all through the day, and we did see quite a sharp cut, 10% cut coming in for Fusion Microfinance. Let's also take a quick look at Glenmark because that also made it to Investec's radar, and they've maintained a buy rating with a target price of 1,900 rupees, and they also initiated a fast long on this particular counter. Now, of course, the company had the US FDA issuing Form 483 with zero observations when it comes to the unit in Aurangabad, and that's the facility where they've gotten that Form 483 with that zero observations, and that is something that kept the stock gaining between 3 to 4% in trade as well. When you take a look at what else was really happening and what else made it to our radar, India and the US have entered into an agreement to set up a semiconductor fabrication plant to make chips as well for use in national security, next generation telecommunications, as well as green energy applications. So that was one pack that was in focus throughout the day, Ankita.
Absolutely, and let's go across to Ruchit Jain, who's the lead researcher of 5paisa.com, joining us right now. Hi Ruchit, thank you so much for joining us. Ruchit, tell us, another day of record highs, and the Nifty Bank also touched record high. But another interesting thing to note is that India VIX also spiked a good 10% today. Tell us, that shows a bit of a volatility in the market. We're already trading at the record high levels. Is there more upside? Where do you see these levels headed, and how should one play the benchmark right now?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon to both of you. Well, there's no doubt about the trend, that the trend still remains positive. The kind of market breadth that we are witnessing the market breadth is quite good, which indicates a good stock-specific broader market participation going on. So now, since we are at all-time highs, the retracements of previous correction generally helps us to take out the next target projections, which are hinting at first targets around 26,050 and short-term targets around 26,270. So we expect the momentum to continue, since this up move has also been led by some of the heavyweights from the sectors such as FMCG, banking and financials, even real estate and real estate sector is doing well. So I think 26,270 is where the short-term targets are coming technically. So I think we should see a continuation of that momentum. I don't think one need to worry much about that India VIX rise that we have seen just one trading session, because it was trading at the lower end of the range, and there could be some pullback move in VIX, but that does not concern much until we see any kind of price reversals coming in. So one should continue to trade with a positive bias and look for stock specific opportunities on the index. Around 26,250 to 70 can be expected.
Bias, and that's the word coming in from Richard. But Richard, also tell us which are the picks that you have for our viewers then?
Yeah, so since the momentum is more in the large cap stocks, I have two large cap names on the buy side. One would be L&T, where yesterday itself we witnessed a breakout from a consolidation phase. Today some pullback move was there. The stock did not participate today, but I think the risk reward ratio is quite favorable. It's just a retest of the breakout level today which has happened. So L&T can be bought by short term traders with stop loss below 3680 for targets of 4,000. And Hero MotoCorp is second pick. In fact, the entire auto space, most of the names from the auto stocks have been doing well. And recently, even during when the sector went into consolidation, the two-wheeler stocks were doing quite well. You take it Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp. I think the momentum is quite positive over there. So Hero MotoCorp still has a good risk-reward ratio, where the stock could head higher towards 6,500 in the near term. So traders can go long with stock below 6,000 for potential targets of 6,500.
All right, Richard, thank you so much for joining us with your picks. We will let you go on that note, but thank you so much for taking the time out. We'll move on to Shrishti, who's standing by on the technical charts also for us. Shrishti, tell us what are the stocks? Where are you seeing the breakouts? At least for Richard, it was the large cap where the action was. Have you also picked out large cap names for us?
Well, certainly, Ankita, there is indeed a lot of action in the large cap space, and both the counters are from that space itself. Firstly, the real estate counter was really rocking today. All these stocks were moving higher, and from the pack, we have picked up Oberoi Realty as the first breakout candidate. What we are seeing is that though the stock is very close to its all-time high levels, but today was a strong green candle formation for Oberoi Realty. Not just that, the stock did cross its previous highs and a previous resistance as well, and now inching towards 1900 levels as well, and seem to be trading above its all key moving averages. So this is the first stock that we wish to highlight on the breakout side. Moving on to the banking major SBI then, because for a long while now we have seen the stock to be under pressure from 900 rupees. The stock did drift below that 800 rupees mark as well, but for today the stock managed to move above its 20-day moving average. Earlier as well, you have seen that there was indeed an attempt, but the kind of green candles that were formed in the recent past, which were 4 to 5 days of consolidation and not a strong green candle formation. But for today, there was indeed a breakout of its 20-day moving average, the stock moving above that 800 mark as well. And today's move was very well supported by a long build up on the derivative side. So these are the two counters that we wish to highlight on the breakout side. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Srishti. So not one, but two counters on the breakout side, but let's move on then. Let's get to the word from the wise. And Mark Matthews, head of investment research, Julius Baer, says that an uptick in sectors like IT, consumer durables and staples indicates a sector rotation. Let's go across and listen into what else he had to say then.
Are not expensive. They have lagged for no particular reason. The fundamentals look very good for the private banks. But as you know, with the exception of ICICI, they have not been good performers. So yes, I think that's a place to be. I also think that the move up in IT is interesting, not really based on any news, but clearly a signal of some kind of rotation, as is the case for consumer durables and staples, which I guess you could explain a little more by some green shoots in the rural sector of India. But anyway, what I would say is that the market is expensive. I think that in the next few months, it'll probably move in about a plus or minus 5% band. And we will get within that big rotation. My sense is the rotation should be into, as I said earlier, IT, private banks, consumer durables and staples, those kind of things that have lagged. And then PSUs, there's been so much good news imbued in them that any miss on earnings, I think, would be matched by underperformance. So that's how I see it over the next few months.
And now moving on to the banks, Nifty Bank we saw hitting another record high today, and banks are also in a strong turnaround mode with the index hitting its life highs and closing 4% higher for the week. But what does this really mean? Does it mean that there is more room for upside, or is this a rally likely to really fizzle out? For that, Kunal and Nikunj are standing by at the wall with the charts. Let's go across and take a look at what they have to say about it.
Right, the Friday's trend was the 14,000 crore net number which came from foreign institutional investors. Typically, if such a large flow is coming from institutional investors, especially foreign institutional investors, it will certainly find its way back into the bank Nifty. And that is what I think Kunal needs to be analyzing, the current positioning of the bank Nifty and where exactly it is headed. Kunal?
So again, I think when we look at the charts over the last 12 months, the bank Nifty has been going through a very subtle uptrend. So the pace was very slow. That's how typically trends start. So you look at this from September 2023, we started off into a gradual uptrend from sub 50,000 levels to now at a point where we are at 54,000 plus mark for the bank Nifty. Now, interestingly, in this, it's seen a series of channel uptrends. So what we've seen is consistent new highs being made, and new highs have been coinciding with the previous resistance trend line, and same is the case with the support. So this is a classical trend in the making. The best part about the trend, what we've done this on a statistical basis, is that whenever the bank Nifty breaks a new high, so the previous high which we tested was in the month of August, 53,000 approximately. We've crossed that high by a margin of 1.5% so far. In the last 5-7 attempts, when the bank Nifty has made a new high, in the subsequent next 1 month to 2 months, the bank Nifty is rallied by a margin of 5% at least to a 10% margin. So even if we are conservative enough, we look at 5% upside for the bank Nifty for the previous breakout, we could be looking at another 1500 points rally for the bank Nifty from yesterday's close.
Okay, and it could happen very quickly before Dussehra?
I think it should happen very quickly because the pace of rally is very high. But again, as a conservative time frame, we are looking at max 1 month for the bank Nifty to rally up another 1500 points.
That's about 3%.
Absolutely.
So if you are really looking for a Diwali Dussehra trade, it's not Nifty, it is not IT, it is not PSU. Just simply go for bank Nifty.
It is, yes.
So buy calls?
Yeah, buy calls, and within the bank Nifty, the best part is, Nikunj, that the private sector banks have steeply outperformed. The
HDFC
PSU banks are
Bank
lagging.
move on Friday.
Exactly.
Okay. So HDFC Bank has cut out. Bank Nifty is getting ready, and the trade, according to Kunal, at least for the month of October and the run-up to Diwali, could be go long the bank Nifty or buy calls.
Alright, well, Ankit, I can't take my eyes off the kind of move that we've seen coming in for Nifty Bank. But for now, let's take a very quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at some more stocks and news, so don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. You're watching Your Trades, where we are discussing all the stocks that were in focus today. Microfusion Finance, which was in Fusion Finance, that was in focus today. It hit its 52-week low, was locked in a lower circuit with cuts of 10%. Well, that was on the back of the fact that that it was downgraded by Investec, and also there was a news coming in, where they have increased, the management has increased the estimated credit loss provision for the second quarter of FY25. But to get you more details on what's the news flow, we're joined by my colleague Varun. Let's go across to Varun and find out the details. Over to you, Varun.
Management of Fusion Finance had actually done an internal review of the credit quality of the loan portfolio in quarter 2, and what they say is the ECL provisioning this quarter would be around 500 to 550 crores. Now, if you look at on a year-on-year basis, it's a jump of around 7 to 8 times. And on a quarter-on-quarter basis, it's a jump of around 45 to 60%, because last year, if you look in quarter 1, the provisioning, ECL provisioning was around 75 crores. And this year, in the first quarter, it has already jumped to 348 crores. And from year on, they are saying that the ECL provisioning will increase further to 500 to 550 crores. No doubt the asset quality of the company has been bad in the first quarter, where the gross NPAs have increased from 2.89% to 5.46% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. The management says that to improve the asset quality, they have taken several measures like tightening norms for providing loans to existing and new customers, improving the field collections, and putting extra layer of supervisory on low-performing branches. Other than that, the company is also strengthening its board and they are looking for a new CEO. No doubt Mr. Sachdev would remain in his role as MD for a period of time and then he would be appointed as the chairman of the board. Also, the company is looking to raise around 550 crores to strengthen their balance sheet. But Investec has downgraded the stock from hold to sell and they've cut the price target from 500 to 300 and also cut the price estimate, the PAT estimates for FY25 and 26 given the ECL guidance that the company has given. So, the ECL guidance and the brokerage house note has led to sharp cut in stock price of Fusion Finance.
Well, absolutely. Thanks, Varun, for that update coming in. So, sharp cuts coming in for Fusion Microfinance, but let's also switch focus to Vodafone Idea then. That was the one that was buzzing away in trade, 3% gains, and it shut shop with 3% gains coming in. Vodafone Idea management, of course, said that it is in talks with lenders for debt raising and also stated that it expects another tariff hike in the next 15 months. In fact, we have Somit Sarkaru standing by with more details. Somit?
Well, firstly, on the mega capex plan that the company has announced, they are saying that this capex plan will improve the company's cash flow and will also help the company gain more subscribers going forward. And most of these cash flows will be used by the company to repay the debt that they are owing to the government. Now, they are also saying that they are in advanced stages with lenders to get a loan of nearly 35,000 crore rupees, and they are expecting this advanced discussion to close in the next 7 to 8 weeks. When it comes to the AGR decision, they are saying that though the AGR decision is negative, it does not impact their long-term planning and strategy. In fact, the strategy that they had submitted or the business plan that they had submitted to banks for this debt raising, it did not consider any AGR relief. So they are quite bullish that they will be able to raise these funds from the banks. Apart from that, they are also saying that they have made it pretty much clear that they cannot make any more appeal with the courts regarding this AGR petition, and now they only have to work with the government for any remedy, and they are already in talks with the government and they are expecting some positive outcome to come in given the engagement with the government has been pretty much on the positive side. They are also saying that tariff hike is pretty much needed even going forward to improve the financial health, and internally they are estimating another tariff hike to come in the next 15 months. And on the dues that are now coming up for payment, they are saying that from FY27 they have to pay nearly 43,000 crore rupees of dues annually, of which nearly 17,000 crore rupees is related to AGR dues, but there is still an option to convert this dues into equity. So if they opt this option, there could be much more equity dilution coming in for the existing shareholders.
All right, that's the word coming in from Vodafone Idea. But let's also go across and listen in to what the CEO Akshay Mundra had to say in the con call.
We would like to reassure you that our long-term business plan and revival strategy remains unaffected. In fact, our long-term business plan, which has been shared with the banks and on the basis of which the techno-economic evaluation has been done, has been constructed without considering any potential benefit in the AGR matter. Hence, while the outcome of the curative petition is disappointing, it does not have any impact on the long-term business plan of the company and its existing liabilities. Also, I would like to clarify that the curative petition outcome does not create any impact or modification on cash flows as already considered in our business plan. In light of the curative petition dismissal, we have initiated a fresh dialogue with the government on likely remedies.
All right, besides Vodafone Idea, another stock that was in focus today was M&M, the top Nifty gainer, where it was on the back of the fact that they had a management meet with the Goldman Sachs and BofA have come out with a note, and let's see what the management had to say. They said that management had issued a positive outlook for the second half of FY25. In fact, they've also issued a guidance on export expansion plans, which is likely to start with Australia, South Africa and Chile. Also, the note says that the XUV 700s is the affordable variants is likely to support the profit growth. The BEV launches are likely to be profitable right from day one. In fact, the improving validation on the Inglo EV platform can be seen. The green shoots have become more visible as far as the rural markets are concerned. Even though they're not back to those rosy levels of the previous cycle, the green shoots are nonetheless visible for the rural markets as well. The tractor market setup looks better, heading into the second half. The rocks test drives of the good interest levels. That's the interest level coming in for the rock test drives. Export plans is starting, like I said, from Australia, South Africa and Chile. So they also came out with their export plans, and also they are fairly positive on the growth outlook going into the second half. So a good positive commentary coming in from the management, and Goldman Sachs and BofA's note that shows a bullish outlook for M&M, and on the back of that, M&M was trading with gains of almost 4% in trade, the top Nifty gainer for the day.
Well, absolutely, it was M&M, and on the back of that positive commentary, that was the stock that was buzzing. But let's also go across to Gaurav, who's standing by with a list of all of the other counters that were buzzing away in trade, the likes of Glenmark Pharma as well as BHEL. Gaurav, which are the other counters that also make it to your list?
Well, yes. First, let's talk about Glenmark Pharma. There are two news on this counter. First is that the company has now received 0 observations from Form 483 from US FDA at its Aurangabad facility, and at the same time, Investec has also initiated a fast long on Glenmark Pharma with a target price of 1900 rupees per share. As a result, we saw some uptick in this counter. Next, let's talk about BHEL, because this company recently won an EPC order worth 6,100 crore rupees, and as a result, we saw some uptick in this counter as well. Next, we have is Tata Steel. The company has now commissioned India's largest blast furnace at a location Kaling Nagar, and with this the crude steel capacity for Tata Steel will increase from 3 MTPA to 8 MTPA at an investment of around 27,000 crore rupees. As a result, we may see some uptick in this counter as well. Next, we have is JSW Infra, because this company recently took a delivery of a dredger to support its expansion activities in Netherlands. Now with this will help the company to boost its production from 170 MTPA to 400 MTPA by FY30 in Netherlands, and as a result, we saw some uptick in this counter as well. Lastly, we also have NBCC, who recently received a work order from Ministry of Health for a project in Bihar worth 1,261 crore rupees, and as a result, we saw some uptick in this counter as well. So definitely watching out on all these counters on the back of the news flow as well as brokerage note that we have received today.
Alright, and with that, we're completely timed out on this edition of Your Trades on ET Now. From me, Shreyansi Singh, Ankita Saxena, as well as the entire team that put this show together. Thank you so much for tuning in.